are recording this on Monday, which there'll be no Liverpool-Brighton chat, sadly. But the reason why we're doing that is because we have to fit in with Pete Donaldson's busy schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, who gives a shit about that game?
Yeah.
I've got a shipment coming into Dubai that I really need to get eyes on. Yeah.
Are you really? Are you going to Dubai tomorrow?
Yeah. Get some chocolate.
Yeah.
No, I
lovely
don't.
green Dubai chocolate.
I don't want to go there unless they pay me.
Let's be clear. Let's be very clear about that.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, on the weekend, Arsenal beat Newcastle 1-0. Aye.
The hoodoo's gone, Marcus.
It has.
Where's that hoodoo gone, baby?
Hoodoo voodoo. Do what you want to do, people. Yes, Arsenal will be in the Champions League next season, thanks to that Declan Rice whipper. He loves a whip, doesn't he?
They needed a whip because they don't have anything else up top, really, do they? They are relying on.
Why didn't your boys win?
They're relying on the whip. I think it's fair to say.
Well, it's a good thing to rely on.
It is. It is.
Did it feel the nature of that goal? I don't necessarily agree with Pete there, but then I don't
it's
think
the safe. It's
I don't
usually
think
the right
Pete
side of
agrees
history.
with Pete there.
Yeah, I do. Correct.
But the way Rice scores that goal, and because of the Real Madrid game as well, it does feel like it's a bit of a last resort, that isn't it? It's like, you're allowed to have a player attacking from deep who shoots from like they scored that in the 55th minute.
Yeah,
but the
Changed
way
the game as well.
Yeah, and the way the way the goal comes about, and I suppose the state of the game, because Newcastle had the run of it really in the first half. But the way it comes about, you're a bit like, it's cheating if you do that. We'll give it to one of our players. To score.
How nouveau.
Yeah.
When the game started and Raya started like gifting Newcastle possession with a couple of like wayward passes, I thought, no, the Arsenal are here again, and the hoodoo will continue. But obviously Newcastle didn't have Isak, and they started with Callum Wilson. I think they were starting Callum Wilson out of respect for the player he was, rather than the player what he represents right now. I probably would have started with Osler up there, mad old Osler.
Yeah,
because he's big, he's got great feet, and he's just more to think about than Callum Wilson right now.
Yeah, well, Newcastle though, that loss means that they're in third.
Yeah,
Peter. So
still in their hands though. It's the old Champions League.
It is still in their hands, and they do have Everton on the last day of the season, which of course you would imagine they would win. Everton. I think there's some Evertonians who don't realise they've got another game left.
Yeah, it's very much after the Lord Mayor show.
Yeah.
And if Isak can come back in time and perform as he's performed in the past against Everton.
A bit like Jamie Vardy, didn't realise that it's a 37-game season, isn't it?
Yeah.
That'll do me.
It's great.
Megabus.
It's great that like the Premier League are trying to push they have been previously trying to push like a 39th game, and some of these teams can't even be asked with the 38th.
Do you think there's a protest against it?
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, then we're going to do it. So Arsenal, they confirmed that they are Champions League. They are.
Yeah.
Okay, them lot of Champions League.
Third consecutive second place finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the kind of
which is impressive, but you can't say that, and you certainly can't say it on the internet.
No.
It is impressive. It is impressive in the grand scheme of things, but I think they're aided by there being no pictures on the score sheet.
So answer me this: when does it stop becoming impressive? Because let's be honest, any team in the land, let's say if Wolves finished second next season in the Premier League, impressive. Finish second again, impressive. Finish second again, impressive. At some point, it runs out.
Yeah.
You know.
They weren't really in the race, though, were they, for a long period of time? That was the problem.
Oh, so did it stop becoming impressive at some point in the season? But has it become impressive again?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everything. I guess when
everything
when players retire, you sort of reassess their influence, don't you? Because you feel like holistically you can sort of take stock. So when they stop turning up second at the end of Premier League season, maybe we can sort of judge them less harshly or more harshly.
Well, I think if Arsenal, I think the impressiveness of Arsenal finish second has kind of finished this season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
And if there are any,
because of who they finished second to as well.
Yeah. And if there are any doubters next season, if they finish second, I think it would be. I think people will go like, oh well, same again. And that's the funny thing, which is why, excuse me, I said it before and I say again. I think Mikel Arteta is kind of in the Gareth Southgate zone now.
Right, okay, nice, I like that.
And I think because, again, next season...
Has your unwavering support? Or
Yeah, I love the man.
Yeah.
And I think he should do the Dimbleby chat and try and save the young men of this nation, quite frankly. But all joking aside, I think that Arteta I mean, it's different. If Arsenal won the Champions League next season and finished second, they won the Champions League, FA Cup and League Cup, okay, fine. All right, I think they'd accept that. But in pure league terms and out with any kind of outrageous success elsewhere, I think I think people are looking at Arsenal going, well, come on, we've said this before, if not now, when? And I think next season is even more so.
Do you think that Arteta, if he was a little bit more outspoken, a little bit more verbose about the difficulties / unwillingness to get anyone in a striking formation in January, he would have been treated less harshly, I think, in public opinion.
I don't think they were ever going to get anybody in January, realistically. I know they had that bid for Ollie Watkins.
They just needed anyone, though.
Which seemed odd. Yeah, I know, but...
They just needed a Chris Wood's style kind of like...
Is Choupo-Moting still playing?
Just
he used to be the MacGyver guy, didn't he, that you would turn to?
Yeah.
And he was actually not bad at it. They should, on the hindsight, they should have got him.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe
Who's the Man United
if he's still
playing for like half a season?
Igalo.
Get Igalo in.
Henry Larsson for a bit, I suppose.
Yeah, get Henrik in there.
Chef Kikuki, get him in.
There's plenty of options.
Yeah.
I mean, Choupo-Moting is playing for New York Red Bulls and doing okay.
What a fucking life he's had, by the way.
Yeah, wild.
It's not too shabby, is it?
Like a proper deal with the devil. Look, you're going to have to spend some time at Stoke.
Yeah. But then after that, PSG and Bayern.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
And finish off in New York if you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you will feature in a Champions League final. True enough. I mean, what do you think, Vish? I mean, Arsenal. I'm saying this about Arsenal. It's difficult to say a team in the Premier League should win the league next season, but because it's funny, you sort of slightly hoisted by your own petard there that because of the work he's done and been consistent with it, there's only quite literally in the league table one place to go, and that's one position up.
Yeah.
And so, so with the chat, I know football's a funny thing, and like I say, they could win 3 cups next season and all the rest of it. But in terms of the Premier League, that's where the real success for Arsenal is.
Yeah, and I think if you put the focus on points, you're kind of missing the framing of this season altogether, considering the biggest issue I think Arsenal had was they were preparing for a battle with an opponent they didn't end up facing. They were preparing for... They essentially built their team for the challenges of keeping up with Man City, and they ended up having to keep up with Liverpool, which required scoring more goals, being more free-flowing, because that's how Liverpool won the league, essentially.
Yeah.
And it feels like every season that Arsenal have had when they finish second, they finish second in a way that's given them a better shot of finishing first the next season.
Yeah.
You can see that they're building things. And I wouldn't necessarily...
And they have been unlucky in some regard that it was Guardiola's Man City that were on...
100%, yeah. But while I don't think they've necessarily built anything this time, built anything extra, that is, I do think they can look a bit colder at their current situation, whether it's their squad or squad and the positions they need to fill, and go and do it. They've ended up with a couple of like really impressive self-remedies in like Miles Lewis-Skelly, Nwaneri offering a bit more depth specifically on like the right wing side for Saka, and he's at the perfect age as well that we've seen where like suddenly in the summer you're like, hold on, have you like grown a foot? Like, when did you get so built? Like and we can throw Lewis-Skelly in that as well. And like the fact that the only position they have to recruit for, they actively have to recruit for, is a striker. And I think you talked about it on Friday's show about situation around Thomas Partey and stuff like that, and we'll see how that transpires. But it's so clear what they have to do, and it feels like with that one position, they can become they can rediscover a bit more of their attacking verve that got them to second place in the first place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, this season can be a positive, but obviously only if they win the league next season.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because even if they'd have won the Champions League this season, it would have been incredible. But it still doesn't change the chat about the league. And I think the league now, because it's been so long, you're now framing it in the way that Liverpool were before they did it under Jurgen Klopp.
Right.
With Liverpool, that was the one. They'd won the Champions League, of course, under Rafa Benitez.
Did that not change the way that people regard Liverpool massively, though? And even the difference between like winning the Champions League back then and now, it's a completely different achievement. I think people it's the pinnacle of football. I think if you win it now compared to when
I think
Benitez did it.
Also, the chaos of that final.
Yeah. No, but I think it depends which club you're talking about, because for Manchester City, if you offer them the Premier League or the Champions League next season, I'd imagine they'd take the Champions League, despite what's happened this season.
Yeah.
Because they've won the league loads of times.
Yeah.
It got to a point under Ferguson. It was like, they'll take the Champions League over the Premier League. That's what I mean, though. For Arsenal, it's been so long without the Premier League title. To say you're the champions of England, that I think the Premier League is always your priority. But again, in specific circumstances, that can change. But I think with Arsenal, it's been so long now that the league is where you prove that you are the best team in the country. There's proof. With the Champions League, not always the best team wins it, of course. But I think that's what they're after. And for me, comparing them to, say, Liverpool and with Klopp, I understand Klopp, the success, the Klopp, it took a few years or a couple of years for Klopp's team to really hit their stride, if you like. But I think you saw when they got to that Champions League final against Real Madrid the first time round, and then they were straight back in the final again, and the cup competition started to come, and then they won the league. I think it was obvious where it was going.
Yeah. And
that was partly, obviously, to do with his management, but as well, the recruitment. And the recruitment is where Arsenal have been let down, I think. You remember that, when they signed Alisson, Van Dijk and Mo Salah, that's a statement. That's like, right, we're coming. We are coming. And with Arsenal...
But that's they ended up paying, record fees for two of those players.
Indeed they did.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to do.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the thing, right? And obviously it's not an exact science. I mean, how much money did Arsenal pay for Nicolas Pepe? They get away with that one. People often laugh at various other ones.
You know what? I don't know that they do because of the rebuilding that they had to do off the back of that.
Okay.
But I also think I'm not entirely sure how relevant this is, but there was also a couple of windows where they missed out on making big mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Vlahovic. I'm also thinking of Mudryk as well. Players that they were in for.
Well, but Mudryk, I mean...
had they not made the Pepe mistake, they might have made one of those mistakes.
Okay,
and
fine.
they get set a bit further back.
But the reason why... I mean, it's a bit harsh on Nicolas Pepe, but, it's not his fault they paid that amount of money.
Yeah.
But basically, that was, a decent season. Not a world-beating season, but a decent season. Whereas when Liverpool sign those players, they're ready to make a difference and to take them up that extra level.
What we need is that Berta. He's on his sun lounger.
Lovely Berta.
Push him off. Get back to work. Get back on your laptop, Berta. Not having it.
Well,
Have you seen photos of him doing this? Like, where's this come from?
He brings a sun lounger wherever he is. Yeah.
Is he quite work shy? You just think Arsenal would have looked into that a bit more. But it's quite interesting the fact that Berta and Arteta have met last week and by all accounts had quite a productive conversation and seemingly, we're going by reports here, but seemingly quite aligned on what they need.
And I'm aware, by the way, that the financial rules, would they have been slightly different when Liverpool were kind of doing that? So I do get it. And the signing of Declan Rice, maybe you have to do this over 2 or 3 windows.
Yeah.
My point is that this summer they can't piss around. There has to be a statement this summer.
Yeah.
There has to be.
And as we discussed, there only needs to be one statement signing, maybe a couple of filling in the edges and stuff. But there is one statement signing to be made.
And where is that? You think it's a striker?
I think it is, yeah.
But who is it then? Because we were talking about Luke, Andy, and I were talking about this, and Luke was saying Gyökeres, and I'm saying okay. And I think Gyökeres would be a good signing, don't get me wrong. If you're going to break the bank for a guy, Gyökeres has never played in the Premier League. He's played football in this country. He played in the Championship, obviously, quite a bit. His best football has been at Sporting in Portugal. Could he be another Matthias Kesman? Do you know what I mean? For those who remember.
But it's now about everything is in place around that striker position at Arsenal. That if they're looking at a striker, it needs to be someone who fits the space that they have left.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't, I'm going to leave it to people who know far more about Gyökeres than I do, but certainly a lot of the people who've written about this topic, specifically on Gyökeres, have talked about how he's someone who tends to hang out wide left and come in like that. Does that immediately make him fit into the Arsenal team? I don't really know. Presumably they need someone who actually is a bit more disciplined or certainly a bit more focused
that's why I thought
central area.
I mean, Osimhen to me is like the oven-ready striker. I just think he'll score goals wherever, but some people may say, but tactically and so on.
But you figure that in a team like Arsenal, everyone plays to a specific script, don't they? Yeah, and they do it so well. When they're on form, they do it so well that you're allowed someone who plays a bit more off the cuff. And if that's your striker, you're kind of laughing, aren't you? If you're able to get a striker who doesn't necessarily need to be beholden to the system, the system, but also will like do his work pressing the centre backs and yet pop up in different areas here and there. That's kind of ideal. So maybe it is Osimhen. I don't know.
If Osimhen had his sort of resurgence like 5 years ago rather than now, and is now playing in the Qatari League, I reckon they probably would have taken a tilt on him.
You reckon?
Bearing in mind where he's from and
possibly,
I'm just saying.
Is that what you've been?
Another Giroud character?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, well, you look at that game against PSG. At periods, they did actually dominate the game. Now, you might say, well, PSG let them. Arsenal were very good. Especially in hindsight, I think actually they were maybe a bit better in that tie than I thought. It was just trying to get the ball in the back of the net. That was the problem for them.
I think if you end up in a situation where, for Gyökeres, for example, you're being pushed to go north of 70 million to sign him, I would sign Isak. Or rather, I would test Newcastle with Isak.
Yeah.
The best player out there who improves their squad, no questions asked, is Alexander Isak.
Well, we're all agreed on that, yeah.
So if you end up in a situation where like you're not going to get value for another player, pump it into Isak.
Yeah.
Like it really is. I think it really is as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they know what to do.
Yeah.
But they knew for many years that they needed to sign a defensive midfielder. Do you remember that saga?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is so stark, though, that I think, to me, Arsenal's failings have been the transfer windows. Rather than the manager, I'd say, because I think Arteta's been a brilliant manager and he's got them going, but you need those reinforcements.
Yeah, 100%.
Right then, everybody. Coming up after this, title celebrations in Germany.
Is that the legendary Dwight Gale, isn't it, who missed the chance in the quarter-final against Manchester City? Is that the same Dwight Gale? Okay, interesting.
Gentlemen, did you see what happened in the Netherlands, in the Eredivisie?
It depends on what it was, I suppose.
Lovely stuff.
I can't say PSV won the league. I have to say that Ajax completely shat the bed and lost the league.
Yeah. That's. I mean, the narrative is that's why the manager's crying because he's leaving, but he's crying because of this.
That Ajax side have disrespected their captain Jordan Henderson so much. Finally, he gets
the
back.
The Hendo effect.
Yeah.
No, but the Hendo effect was to actually raise them up a level.
Right.
And then he missed some games which they lost. And then when he gets back in there, he scores.
Yeah.
And they win. But it was too little too late. Because Ajax won 2-0 on the final day, but it wasn't enough. They beat PSV on the 30th of March and were 9 points clear with 7 games left. And they just completely shat it.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Like it's a royal shitting. Like it's
a Dutch shitting. Yeah.
No, that's
no.
It's a different thing.
Yeah. And you know what they messed up against Groningen last week in the second to last game of the season when they conceded a 99th minute equaliser. Win that, and they'd have still been okay.
Yeah, it's like rolling down the hill. You do the first few metres, and you're like, this can't keep on going. Yeah. Oh no, this barrel really is smooth, isn't it?
Yeah. I know, and that set it up. Because PSV just needed to beat Sparta Rotterdam 3-1, a team with not much to play for, and to clinch the title, and they did.
Good on them.
Oh, poor old Hendo.
Shouldn't talk about Ajax tossing it away. Should talk about PSV being brilliant. Well done, them.
You have to talk about both.
Yeah, I think there's
Luke de Jong scored. Have some respect.
Well, you see, there you are. Are you sad for Jordan Henderson? Any
no, not at all. No, but he's heading to Monaco, isn't he?
Oh, is that going to happen?
I think so. I think that's where he was.
That's where he was rumoured to go in January.
Dancing around, trying to find how he can get the remainder of his Saudi contract. Monaco, like, we'll sort you out next season. Oh, he's gone to FC Sion. That's weird. What are you doing there?
All nonsense aside, Peter, the twilight of your career, going to Monaco, that is the epitome of a lovely old job.
Lovely. It's a lovely glass of Bordeaux, ironically, on a veranda, isn't it?
Oh no, that was it. I messed up. He was was linked to Monaco at the start of the year in the January transfer window when he kicked off. Maybe that was the trigger for the capitulation.
Don't blame Hendo.
PSV won their last 5. Ajax's form was absolutely crap. But PSV scored 103 goals. Ajax 67. It's a big old drop off, isn't it?
Yeah,
goals wins prizes.
They do win.
Let's go shipping. Let's go shopping around PSV squad, shall we?
By the way, speaking of Monaco, as we just were, Eric Dier, of course, has officially joined Monaco, as people used to say in the past. They announced the news last week with an AI image of him playing chess.
Yeah,
what is it? Pete, explain this.
Is it AI? I don't want to besmirch the good name of the graphic designers at his new club, but he appears to have taken a king with a pawn. The pawn's massive, though. Why is the pawn so big, Eric? We need answers, and we need them soon.
Is that a pawn, or is
that looks like a tall pawn rather than a short bishop?
You think?
Yeah. The bishops have a bulbous head and a little hat on it.
It's an intriguing image.
You see, I'm very familiar with Gary Kasparov's work in the game.
I mean, the piece that he's moving and has won him the game is in Monaco colours.
Yes,
as well.
That's right. Yes,
none of it makes any sense.
But it looks like he's picking his clubs very correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
in the twilight of his career.
Considering like what would happen with Dier at Spurs, he was a bit of a figure of fun at times. There was that whole thing with his brother and so on. And never won a major trophy, and then goes to Bayern, which seemed like an unlikely move at the time, but was seen as a reliable stand-in, like third choice centre half.
Yeah.
For Bayern Munich, and actually his reputation in Germany was pretty good. Goes in there, was playing latter stages Champions League, although obviously they went out to Inter. Wins the Bundesliga, gets his medal, and then Monaco say, you know what?
No income tax, no VAT. Come on over.
Are they about to unveil Gareth Southgate as manager? Henderson's going there, Eric Dier.
Dear. I'm quite happy for him. Like, I think he's one of those players who, I think if you were to tell me his career path, I wouldn't have really predicted it. Because,
especially his last season at Tottenham, where you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He lost the ability to play football at one point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's quite hard to play football when you're trying to, walk up the stands to fight someone.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, like it's the dream, isn't it? Like we've all talked about this. Is like you want to win trophies, this, that, and the other, but you want to experience other football cultures and go around Europe. Which is just having fun.
Tell that to some of the Liverpool fans, all right?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah?
Okay.
You've moved to Madrid, you're labelled a rat.
Do you think the Munich fans we're not getting any money for Eric Dier, you fucking rat?
Got him. That would be so good.
That's money out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You helped us win the league, and now look at you. You're off. I thought,
right. Been here for ages.
You'll never can alone. That's what we used to say.
Oh, dear.
Don't use that as a social clip, please.
Come on. Get it out there. Get it out there. Well, of course, him and Harry Kane were having a lovely old time in their title parade at the town hall in Munich. They were. Georgia Stanway was there.
Yes,
of course, as well.
Both singing
Sweet Caroline on top of the Marienplatz.
Yeah.
I say singing. What was Harry Kane? He seemed to be out to be fair to Kane.
He was buffering.
Yeah, he was buffering.
He was buffeted by the beats, I think. It's fair to say.
To be fair to Kane, though.
We didn't need a Euro pop dance mix of Neil Diamond, the Jewish Elvis's fine work, Sweet Caroline.
Exactly.
We didn't need it.
And I don't think he was expecting, we're going to sing Sweet Caroline. Where it's like, hang on, what's this?
Sweet Caroline. It's just hard to know where to come in, I would say.
Yeah.
I think with Euro dance beats, you really have to be someone who's really going to take hold of the song and blast it out.
Yeah.
Kane's not going to be up for that. I would say that Georgia Stanway a lot better. Yep. And as Vish said before the ramble, a lot more charismatic on the mic, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Jobbing you in there.
No, it's fair. I stand by that.
Stand by that.
Harry Kane is obviously very football. And
football.
Yeah, to that.
Does someone do a Euro dance beat of the Ramble, please?
Yeah, play that one. He'll be away.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, like, I feel like Georgia Stanway is more likely to be let into Berghain than Harry Kane.
Yes,
do you think so?
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, Harry Kane, he's had a good season. 26 goals in the league. He finishes as top scorer again. So dominating that league, and he's won it. he's bloody well won it.
Do you think this is? I mean this sincerely, and I appreciate you're going to potentially take this back to England.
Right.
Oh yeah,
But do you think we're going to see a different kind of Harry Kane because of this?
maybe.
Do you think this is a bit of a like we've broken the seal with winning things and?
And that only bodes well for next summer. I get what you're saying, brother.
Yeah, I understand,
get what you're saying. You don't need to code it with me.
You were so excited there. You got into Radio 4 voice. What is this?
A bit of some dance music.
Have we got the rights to it?
Yep.
Okay. How?
Yeah.
If you just quickly.
Have you knocked this up?
Because we knocked it up on the no.
Okay.
Kane.
Here we go. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba.
That's it.
That actually works better than the version they played.
Yeah.
In Munich.
That was a good version. Good version.
And we've had of Sweet Caroline. We've had two different versions.
That's true, actually. Good point.
Very good point. Galatasaray secured their third consecutive Turkish Super League title on Sunday, beating José Mourinho's Fenerbahce. In the process. Yeah, poor old Jose.
Tell us how seriously we take this section. Galatasaray's coach, Okan Buruk, whose nose Jose pinched a few weeks ago.
Well, like I've got your nose.
Yeah. He put his laptop in front of the camera after the game, showing 5 stars and the real one.
That's good.
That's just. Does it get any better than that?
It's just the back half of the season has just been a series of callbacks.
Yeah.
To all the things Jose has done.
An absolute needle on Jose.
Yeah.
He's going to leave. He's going to have to leave.
Well, he will. Jose, of course, back in September, he complained against an offside decision by placing his laptop in front of the camera to prove that his player wasn't offside. And then there was a banner as well at Galatasaray calling Jose the most expensive influencer in the world.
Oh, my God.
Both barrels. He's getting it all.
You know what it is?
He normally gets revenge.
Blunderbuss.
What's going to happen next season? I tell you what's going to happen next season. He's going to get Jamie Vardy in.
Yeah.
Get Vardy in there to help
is
you out.
Is he the kind of player, I suppose? I don't know.
To the pair of them together would be unstoppable.
I could see Vardy in Turkey, to be quite frank.
I could as well.
I can, but I mean, I worry about so many different things.
Culturally, mainly.
Yeah. What do you mean there's one religion on one side of the bridge and another? No, just leave the bridge alone. Leave the bridge alone.
Yeah. Like, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Although for Jose Mourinho, it would be a good idea, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Goodness knows what he's going to do. Do you think he'll leave, or do you think he'll think, right? Because has he got a little bit of magic still left? Because that time when Barcelona massively mugged him off with Guardiola and they managed to win the league, when, in that second season? They managed to beat Guardiola's Barcelona in the league that time, which was an incredible achievement. Can he do anything like this?
Well, there's that scene in The Thick of It, and Stephen Fleming says this to Malcolm Tucker. Malcolm Tucker being the main spin doctor behind the sitting government at the time. And he says,
sort of Alistair Campbell of the piece.
Yeah. And he says to him, "You're going from the person people love to hate to the person people just hate."
Yes.
And it feels like that transition with Mourinho has happened a while ago.
Yeah.
Until he went to Turkey.
Right.
And there is a sense that Fenerbahce fans do love him because he plays a lot of the hits.
Totally, yeah. Totally.
And Galatasaray fans and the club enjoy hating him. And so if ever he was going to do anything, it is clearly in this environment where they enjoy throwing pelts at him. They're not even really celebrating this as a success for them. They're also celebrating it as a success against Jose Mourinho.
Yep.
Yeah. It's which
so
a lot
he
of
is the
footballers.
centre of attention.
Well, a lot of footballers out there season the career go out there and play their hits. So it is kind of like it's like a distilled kind of like the very the lovely sort of whiskey at the bottom of the barrel. It's richer than all of the rest of the whiskey. And you're like, actually, this is actually a bit undrinkable.
Yeah, fortify it.
It's undrinkable.
We're at fortified Mourinho stage, aren't we?
So.
But the point being that like he's got to have some self-awareness to be like, look, I'm kind of leading this one way or another.
Right, yeah.
And I could, go into next season and really like make a statement. Probably his last, meaningful statement in European football.
I think he stays because I think he thinks it'd be so sweet if he won the league. Because if he doesn't, it's just more of the same and he's already had the worst of it.
Yeah.
So I reckon he stays maybe one more year.
There's some great low power, high CPU potential laptops out nowadays. Right. So, that's only, the screens are just going to be getting bigger and bigger. So. more opportunities.
And also, like, if you look at, the like Super League history as well, like Fenerbahce winning it would be a huge deal.
It would.
Be that guy.
I like it.
Be that guy. Okay, then. Coming up after this, tonight's Premier League matches. Right, gentlemen, let's go back all the way to the Premier League. We've got a couple of games tonight. Crystal Palace hosting Wolves.
I feel on there, sure.
That'll be, I was going to say, that's just a lovely old time for Palace. Just a lot of flicks and overhead kicks only, please. They should play headers and volleys. They should all play.
It's Sunday school.
Yeah.
Just speaking about our religious chat from the last show.
Yeah.
Have a kick around, bit of Bible verse, go on, lovely old job.
Yeah,
Exactly.
play Connect 4, knock it on the head.
Surely it's got to be who can score the best goals, because Cunha will be in on that.
Yeah.
Eze's obviously there. Yeah, I think that's what they got.
There'll be a VAR check for 12 minutes because it will just be people wanting to see replays of their goals.
Yeah.
Look at this bit.
Yeah.
How good's that?
Totally, yeah.
It's going to be the Baller League. It'd be the equivalent of the Baller League.
But this is how you do it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wolves are reportedly interested in signing Liverpool's Harvey Elliott.
Okay, right, yeah.
Surely they're not going to... Why would they even entertain
Why would he do that?
Why is that? Why do you not think?
Well, Harvey Elliott?
Mm.
Because he's like potentially one of the best midfielders in the country.
Well, that's probably why they want him.
Yeah, but why would Liverpool entertain that?
Yeah.
Well, indeed.
Why?
But
We're
Wolves-
entertaining it.
Yeah, but
That's the question, isn't it?
because
we sound annoyed.
But he doesn't start that much. So if you're Wolves, you're thinking...
You're not going to use him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Let's be having you.
Yeah. You never drive it.
Knocking on a rich person's door. That car is always outside. Yeah. That Porsche is always outside your house with a cover on it.
You only drive on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I've got a
Pathetic.
commute to think about. Yeah, it's very ambitious. But
I think within reason, I
Yeah.
think
come back to
maybe...
Fulham. Come back to Fulham. All's forgiven.
I reckon a big team a team with like big kind of top half ambitions would be the ideal place for. And I appreciate this.
What
probably
about like
doesn't
a Villa?
Well, I was going to say I appreciate this doesn't make fiscal sense, but almost going to Liverpool and being like, look, we'll pay you 10 million up front. Just to loan him for a season, because I think he's so good.
I think he's a great player.
And yeah, I think he definitely has potential to be one of the most dominant central midfielders, like attacking central midfielders in the league. But there's no way Liverpool would want to let go of him completely.
But at some point, he'll want to start.
He'll have to turn around and tell them that he wants to go.
Well, totally, yeah. I mean, I understand that, but he's 22, so he's obviously very young still, but... the years go by quick, and I understand. Again, he's part of a great side. They're the champions of England and all that kind of stuff. And yet, he scored the goal in Paris. Obviously, they lost the tie, but he has some of these moments. But you're right. He's looking around thinking, I would be starting and starring possibly for a lot of teams around here.
So do you think
of his, all roads lead to England. Think of his England ambitions as well, and all that kind of stuff. A player who's versatile as well.
How does this sound though?
Go on. He comes back to Fulham and apologises, yeah?
I mean, I was going to set it up as like, say a team that have lost, a charismatic left-footed central midfielder.
Here we go.
Coming back to, I mean, that actually is quite a neat fit for a year-long loan, isn't it?
It would be a surprise. I don't think he'll come back to Fulham. But
No, but like in terms of a team who are ambitious, who play a certain way, it's a quick schooling for Liverpool. They almost can fast-track his development with first-team football. And then if he still wants to go, like fucking everyone will be in
And
for
more
him.
room in the showers. There's fewer conditioners. I mean, look at that hair takes some upkeep. So.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Is it always thinking of the big picture?
Wouldn't recommend Nivea for curly hair, but what are you going to do?
That's a good point.
You get Fabio Carvalho back as well from Brentford.
Yeah, why
just
not?
These young players, they leave Fulham. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. Well, staying with Wolves, a local pub has given some more insight into Wolves manager Vitor Pereira's pub trips, and we were asking a number of people at the Birmingham Ramble live show about this, and
Quite a few Wolves fans, weren't there?
There was quite a few Wolves fans. They hadn't had a pint with Vitor Pereira,
Right?
But they were having a pint with us.
Exactly. Yeah. Next
lovely,
best
that.
thing. Next best thing. First the puns and then the pints.
Yes.
Yes.
We didn't really do many puns. It was more smut, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a smutty show.
There was
and
a big
then
slice of smut in there.
And then in Birmingham, I did a rousing hour-long DJ set, and one of our number came over and asked me to turn it down.
Who was that?
I don't know.
Who was that?
Who would
was that?
spoil the
Somebody
party?
trying to save their voice for the next night because they were there talking to all the Ramble listeners.
Someone who started the evening with a rendition of "Don't Stop the Party."
Yeah.
was asking to turn it down.
Asking to stop the party.
Yeah, carry on partying, but carry on responsibly.
Responsibly. Do it responsibly.
Exactly, yeah. Someone did.
Saving my voice. I can
Saving
turn into
my
Celine
voice.
Dion.
God.
Oh, dear. Here we go.
Come on.
Don't stop the party. Well, apparently, Vitor Pereira likes to head to the Swan in the village of Tettenhall and sit in the back row watching the football with a few pints and his notebook. So head there, guys. That's where he is.
God, what's Vitor thinking here? Oh, he's over there. What?
I mean, like, is this all... Does he love the Swigs so much, or is he a man who is just protesting a little bit too much about being a man of the peoples?
Do you think it's like... do you watch Futurama?
I did in the past.
Do you remember Slurms Mackenzie? He was the partying guy on the front
Yes,
of
that's right,
Slurm
yeah,
cans. And he was always in shades, and he always wore shades, and he was always partying. But he takes the shades off and his eyes are blood red. He's like, I just can't party anymore.
Just can't party anymore, yeah.
But people expect it of him.
Very much my vibe on the
Mackenzie.
show, I would suggest as well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he does seem to enjoy the pints, and I always just think, and we've had a little taste of it in the last week. It's really hard to say no when other people are buying you pints constantly.
That's true,
isn't
yeah.
it? And I suppose at some point Vita's got to be like, look, chill out.
I own a lot more than most of you. Let's be honest. I should be buying. Yeah.
Well, exactly. You can control it more if you're doing the buying. Yeah.
Come on, Vita, you must be a millionaire.
Yeah.
He's just written, I fucking love you on the notebook.
Manchester City are hosting Bournemouth tonight as well. It's a big one. It is a big one because the Wraith Rovers, the race for 8th is still
in
relevant.
Man City's future.
So Bournemouth have still got something to play for. And of course, if Chelsea finish 7th and win the Europa Conference League, then it would be 8th spot would be a Conference League spot. And that is very possible. Chelsea beating Betis in the final is very possible. It's a proper game. They've finally got in the Europa Conference League.
It's finishing 7th that's the hardest bit.
But I still think that's possible. But there's all really eyes on Nottingham Forest because Villa have got Manchester United on the last day of the season at Old Trafford as well, which makes it even more of a banker.
God, what a thing to say. You're absolutely right.
Could be Europa League champions, but I don't know. Which is why it will be whatever way it goes. So Newcastle, we think they'll be fine against Everton at home. Villa have got Manchester United. Manchester City have got Bournemouth tonight and then Fulham away. Well, they just need 2 points from those 2 games that would ensure that they would finish above Chelsea. But the thing is, if Chelsea lose, and that's the thing, it's all on Nottingham Forest, really. It's a huge game. Forest need to beat Chelsea. So there's the permutation. So I think there is merit, obviously, as finishing as high as possible. But 8th spot, there is a little bit of a chance. So Bournemouth will be up for it. But Man City themselves, currently 6th outside of the Champions League spots, they need to make sure, Vish, that they put them away.
Yeah. I feel like it's coming not necessarily at the right time for Man City, as it were, coming off the back of that FA Cup final defeat, but it feels like Bournemouth have run a bit out of puff. And so because of that, we're going to be in a situation where like Man City will turn it on and be a bit of a foregone conclusion. Yeah, so you almost want to talk about it from the Bournemouth side, really, don't you? Because it's really hard to square the fact that this is still such an impressive season for them, and yet it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
And because I feel like on balance, they've entertained far more than Man City have, and they have been so exciting that you kind of wonder what next for Bournemouth going into next season. Because you feel like at this juncture, they're just like, as you know, obviously you've outlined the ways that they can still will still get European football next season. But I imagine a lot of them would just be like, look, let's just cut it off now and go again next year.
And that's the funny thing is when you look at the league table, you think to yourself, well, Forest have had a great season, they have, and they've got European football. So it's, but in the context of it, they might be disappointed if they miss out on Champions League or Europa League as well. We talked about Bournemouth so much this season. A few people were talking about Fulham a little bit. But both of those sides, 10th and 11th, Brighton and Brentford above them. And Brentford are the side, okay, Fulham beat them on the weekend. But it is about the big picture, and because Brentford were never going to qualify for the Champions League, there was talk of Bournemouth doing it. But eventually, though, these sides have all kind of fallen away, and Forest are the one who we thought wouldn't, but there's a slight danger that they might come out of it. It's all about the 38 games, Peter.
It is.
You can't deny.
You've got to pace yourself, haven't you?
But of course, if Man City lose to Bournemouth, then qualification for the Champions League is out of their hands. They'll need snookers.
Ooh, I love that.
So it's a big game tonight.
Imagine needing a different sport to win.
There we are, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast Creator Network. I'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about those games that happened last night, and of course, looking ahead to that clash of the Titans in Bilbao, the Europa League final. Thank you very much, Vish.
Thank you. If anyone knows somewhere I can watch it in Nottingham, please let me know. Thanks.
Thank you,
Just
Peter.
put your shout out.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you, Peter.
If anyone would like to buy a Toyota Century, I'm selling my car. I'm not. It's delicious. Love it.
And
Do you have anything? Do you want to?
no, I've got my Oasis ticket.
How did you get that?
I
killed a man.
And
Killed
after all,
Go.
you're my
Someone press the button.
wonderful.
Someone press the button. Let's go.
Feel a drop.
Feel a drop.
Hey, darling, you want to come with me to a cool party?
Would you like to live forever? Feeling supersonic. Bye.